Or two of them anyway, for fantasy's sake.
Welcome to For Fantasy's Sake, a weekly presentation from Clint's Drafthouse Pizza and Subs. I should probably just call it Sunday Morning Hammer. We don't have Sicoli, but we do have the mustached man, Mr. Nick Gurall, joining us today. All of our game time decisions for today's show were late scratches, so Nick graciously accepted my invite to come on here, talk a little DFS for a little bit, and get you guys, especially the people who didn't make the playoffs, all ready to win some money on daily. How you doing today, Nick? And as always, tell everybody where to find you.
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Just got the World Cup here on the background. Argentina is just absolutely dummying the French. Do we love to see that? I don't know. I'm not a big soccer guy, but yeah, you can find my stuff at Gridiron AI. Check out the Instagram, gridiron.ai right now for about 6 plays at each position, 12 at wide receiver for DraftKings main slate. Yeah, we've been doing pretty well. We got some interesting stuff we're doing over at Gridiron AI with all the machine learning, and I'm sure people have been seeing what's going on with some of that stuff. So we're trying to use it to win in fantasy football and hopefully give you guys some good plays today.
Yeah, definitely a big fan of what you guys do. We had Chris Robin, he's Detroit Beastie on Twitter on last week. Great content from him as well. I definitely check out Gridiron AI just before those night games because they definitely put out some good stuff and kind of lets me know where to look, but also where to save some money. And that's, I guess, my first question today. Some expensive plays in some places and some cheap guys who might blow up today. Where are you kind of saving some money?
Well, Chris Moore, garbage time special of the week, I'll call it. Kansas City's going to be able to do whatever they want. They like to pass. So even if they're up, I expect Kansas City to keep passing, which is kind of a problem against Houston. A lot of offenses get in this good spot against a bad Houston team and then kind of shut it down. But we saw Houston kind of stay competitive. So I think that there's enough passing volume to go around where Chris Moore is kind of the last man standing. Had a good game last week. He's right around 4,200. You're not going to sneak him by anybody. So if you do play him, make sure you get a little different elsewhere. But that's probably the best cheap wide receiver play on the week. Another play at running back that's on the cheaper side. Zonovan Knight has his price has not really come up much for his workload. Michael Carter is still there. He's healthy, but they really like the way that Zonovan Knight runs in this Salah kind of 49ers type zone scheme. He's also going to be pretty popular. There's not a lot of like contrarian value on the week. So if you're going to get different, make sure you're doing so with some of your stud picks. But yeah, those are the two I would say. I'll give someone a little something at tight end here as well. Don't sleep on Chig Okonkwo. He's basically like the wide receiver one for the Titans, who should have to pass the ball a lot because I think Justin Herbert and the Chargers are going to be able to put up a lot of points through the air because the Titans are really, really good against the run and they're really, really bad against the pass. So Chig Okonkwo is like a pseudo wide receiver one. That's kind of where you want your tight ends to be. Not sure how popular he's going to be, but at 3,100, you can do a lot if you slide him in your lineup. And don't be afraid to play 2 tight ends this week. I know your boy Kelsey's a lot of people are going to put him in today against the Texans.
Psst, I did. And I guess another player that I was looking at in my lineups that you kind of alluded to there. What are we doing? I know Eckler, he's kind of the 1B pass option there in San Diego, or are we playing him because of his volume in the passing, or are we kind of staying away from him, especially with that high salary?
So the way I play like a lot of lineups. I'm the guy who's trying to enter 150. Starting, I haven't quite gotten to the point where I can 150 the millionaire maker yet, but when I'm playing like the 25 or 50 cent entry ones, what I do is I'll boost the projections to kind of get exposures where I want them. I'm boosting the passing game. And if it were any other running back other than Austin Eckler, I would probably downgrade him a little bit, but I'm going to keep his projection kind of where it's at, just because he can get there in the passing game as well. But I'm definitely gravitating more towards the Chargers passing game. That's my favorite kind of stack on the week for sure.
Hey, look at that. You just started the next question. Yeah. Are you going Williams, Allen? Are you going Herbert Eckler there?
Yeah, Herbert is in contention for. I don't do this every week, but he is consideration for just locking him in to 150 lineups and just letting the optimization process take care of everything around that. I don't think he's going to be the most popular play. The Titans are like the worst pass defense in the league right now. They're banged up. And I like the way that it's like a concentrated offense. I know Josh Palmer and DeAndre Carter will get some work as well, but Keenan Allen should find plenty of soft spots in the zone. The Titans play a lot of zone just because they don't have a whole lot of talent. And Mike Williams is going to get a lot of action down the field. The one hope is the Chargers run defense is really bad. So what happened yesterday in the Colts Vikings game was like the worst possible scenario for me, because I wanted that game to shoot out and it did, but in a really weird way. That could happen if the Titans don't really show up today. But I do think that Derrick Henry will be able to get going as well. So he's a good quote unquote bring back in that game as Chig Okonkwo and Austin Hooper as well. This would be it's like, I like playing veteran wide receivers when people have kind of given up on them, but Robert Woods just might be complete dust. So that's kind of how I'm viewing this game is Derrick Henry and Chig Okonkwo, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Justin Herbert. They're not going to be like super sneaky plays on the week, but they're definitely not going to be the most popular plays. A lot of people are going to gravitate towards Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, and rightly so. They're really great plays this week for sure.
When you're talking about Hurts and you're also talking, me, I like to stack my lineups. Who do you really stack with Hurts? You could go Sanders, you could go Smith, you could go AJB. Like, where do you really go there?
Miles Sanders is probably my overall favorite running back play on the week. So I really do like him. So I think that if you end up with a lineup somehow with like Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders and none of the wide receivers from Philly, I think that's fine. I don't think you should really try to go out of your way to fix that. I do think that stacking Jalen Hurts with one or the other of Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, I just don't think there's going to be a ton of pass volume in this game, just because I don't think the Eagles will need to air it out a whole lot, because the Bears are you can do whatever you want against them. I like Justin Fields. People are going to play him this week, but he doesn't have anybody to throw to. And the one player that is solid on that team that's still healthy is Cole Kmet, and the Eagles are a really bad matchup for tight ends. So Justin Fields can kind of move this offense down the field with his legs, but I know that Philly knows that, and that's probably going to be they're going to go all out QB spy. I don't know if you've ever played Madden. You can shut down a running quarterback if you absolutely have to sell out for it. I don't think Equanimous St. Brown is going to be able to win against this Eagles secondary. So I think Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders will be running the ball a lot. So for that reason, I'm more into that stack. And if you do want to stack with one, I would go with one receiver, not the two receiver double stack with Philly this week.
I know you've mentioned Kmet, Kelsey, Chig. Where do you really like the tight ends? Who lights up for you when you open up that tight end salaries?
Greg Dulcich. The Arizona Cardinals for 5 years now have been one of the best matchups for tight ends, and Cortland Sutton's out. I know it's Brett Ripien, so that gives me a little bit of pause, especially because Greg Dulcich is going to be popular, but he's cheap. He's got a good matchup. The ball has to go somewhere, even though Brett Ripien is throwing it. This game could be really ugly. So not my favorite play, but that's a good salary saver. And if you want to pay up a little bit, not all the way up to Kelsey, Dalton Schultz has a really good matchup, and Dak Prescott's another quarterback that you can stack up a couple different ways. Finally, the Cowboys do get a matchup here where I think this game's going to be competitive. I think Jacksonville's trending in the right direction. I think Trevor Lawrence can overcome a tough matchup against the Dallas Cowboys defense that's been really tough against quarterbacks and wide receivers. But I think this game has a decently high total. I think that you can stack Dak Prescott with Dalton Schultz. I think you can stack him with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Noah Brown, less so. But yeah, definitely Dalton Schultz should find plenty of space. Would love if he was a little bit more athletic. He kind of catches the ball and falls down, but he should get 6-7 targets today against the Jags defense.
I will let on here. I saw a stat, or I saw last night in the start that Rippon had against the Jets. Our boy Dolchich, he caught 6 passes for 51 yards, had 9 targets, his highest target share of the season. So, and I think backup quarterbacks do tend, unless you're the fella Tyler Huntley in Baltimore, they do tend to lean on their athletic tight ends.
Yeah,
that was just a really weird game last night for Baltimore offensively. But what about defense here for you? The Chiefs are the highest thing. I never thought I'd hear me say the words, the Chiefs are the highest salaried defense for the main slate.
Yeah, the Chiefs are a good play this week, as are the Broncos. Colt McCoy is kind of a game manager. His calling card is he doesn't really turn the ball over much. But, I mean, if you're going to get a few points just based off of overall score, like this game could definitely be one of those like 12-9 or 18-10 or whatever games that are kind of boring to watch because both backup quarterbacks are in today. But so the Broncos are definitely going to be popular. They're only 2,700. I think they're priced as if Kyler Murray were playing. Maybe DraftKings knows something we don't. So they're not a bad play if you're playing like small field stuff. I don't know that I really want to play them in like a millionaire maker type of lineup just because they will be popular and defense is really volatile. So kind of a sneakier option is Tampa Bay. They're down at 2,600. I like spending as little money on defense as possible just because, like I said, they're very hard to predict. And Joe Burrow, he can put up a lot of points and take a lot of sacks. They're kind of like a high floor play at defense just because Joe Burrow will kind of hang on to the ball, let T. Higgins and Jamar Chase get down the field. And sometimes he pays for that. So they're also on the road too. So a little boost for the defense there.
I am in on the Cardinals defense. That was my go this week.
They're on my list as well. They're priced up. They're weirdly priced up where the Broncos defense is priced down, and the Broncos defense is one of the best in the league. It's a little bit of a weird pricing situation, but yeah, you could definitely go to the other side of the ball there, and I have no qualms with Arizona this week.
You mentioned you like to not spend money on defense, and one of the ways I used to set up my lineups when setting my lineups is I would always grab my tight end and my defense first. So I knew, what money I spend. And then, I got into this really, you can't call it a bad habit because of who it is, but I got into this habit of I want to play Kelsey as much as possible. I want as much exposure. So you're no longer playing cheap. So I was kind of always looking for that defense RB2. Is there any specific way that you kind of build your lineups?
Like I said, I use like an optimization program, and a lot of times this season, like kind of the pattern that we've been seeing is paying down at defense a lot. But also like in certain spots, like it does seem to be able to narrow down the 6 defenses. So usually one of the 6 defenses is one of the ones you need. So other defenses that kind of pop off the page today is Carolina against the Steelers. We're getting Mason Rudolph. I'm wearing a Steelers jersey, of course. We're getting Mason Rudolph today. Mitch Trubisky. The Steelers fans want to see Mason Rudolph. It's just like, it's like you give a kid a choice between 2 chores they want to do, and it feels like they're gaining something in that. That's kind of what it feels like today for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Panthers defense hasn't been that bad. I know the team overall has been pretty bad, but they got some really, really Shaq Thompson's like an absolute beast. They have JC Horn. I think he got banged up a little bit last week, but he's been solid this year. So the Panthers are definitely in play. Like you said, the Chiefs, the Eagles against this Bears offense that doesn't really have a whole lot of playmakers. And then the last one were the Cardinals, of course. So those are the ones I'm kind of on, and they kind of range anywhere from 3,900. The most expensive one on my list is the Chiefs, though. So Yeah, you don't be afraid to pay up for the Chiefs this week because I mean I think they're going with a 2-quarterback system in Houston today. They're going to have some packages for Jeff Driscoll, who's kind of the more mobile guy, and I don't know if they're playing Kyle Allen or Davis Mills. They're really committed to the tank, though. They benched like everybody. Anybody that even has like a bruise or a little boo-boo is sitting today. So Damian Pierce is out, Nico Collins, Brandon Cooks. Yeah, they're not going to be able to move the ball much against the Chiefs.
Before I let you go, I'll ask my favorite questions that I always add into our rapid fire. The first one is there any prop bet you're absolutely hammering today that you think will be a good one for you?
I would let's do an anytime touchdown score. I just want to mention this. Gerald Everett is also another guy you can throw into your lineups with Justin Herbert. I like him to score a touchdown today, specifically because the Titans defense, like I said, is really bad against opposing pass offenses. And he wears the visor and number 7 at the tight end position. So he's just a cool guy to root for.
So for fantasy's sake, if you really want to lose your money today, you're going to do a 3-way parlay for anytime touchdowns with Nick's Gerald Everett, Nick Brinks's Travis Kelce, and then my Carolina Panthers defense. So
there we go.
Throw some money on that three-way parlay, win some money. And then my last question here for you. Other than your favorite team, what game are you definitely watching today?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I'm going to be heavily invested in that Chargers-Titans game, so I'll definitely have that on as well. I also just think that the best game, like the most competitive game on the week, is probably going to be that Dallas-Jacksonville game. So I really like that game. That game should be fun to watch today.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you a Sunday ticket guy, or are you kind of, when your team's not playing, you're kind of scoping the red zone?
Oh, definitely red zone. Definitely red zone.
Yeah.
But I actually, I'm weird. I'm a huge fan of like the analytics and stuff. I try not to watch the games too closely, if that makes sense, just because like I don't want that to influence, because I don't believe in my ability to like scout NFL players. But it would be cool to kind of learn how to do that. I actually was talking to Wisconsin Oshkosh. Have you ever heard of him? It's like a D3 football team.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested, they on Twitter, just look them up. They will take you in and kind of teach you how to do some of the play-by-play charting. I just didn't have enough time to do it, but I do want to learn how to like chart NFL plays and whatnot. So until that happens, I'm a very passive NFL fan. So I'll just kind of have Red Zone on in the background and be listening for Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott touchdowns, hopefully. So
yeah, I've been pretty lucky so far this year, where I think this might be just the second Chiefs noon game.
Oh, really?
So I've been able to watch Red Zone for the peak slates, but the Chiefs do play a nooner today because the Texans are bad. You know the Chiefs are playing a really bad team when you don't put them in the prime slot.
Yeah, exactly. But,
all right, well, Nick, I do appreciate you going on. I did get a start set here in my inbox. Pick 2 running backs: Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Pacheco, Brian Robinson, and DeAndre Swift.
Oh, I like Jerick McKinnon. What were the names again? Sorry.
Pacheco, Brian Robinson, DeAndre Swift.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think that so Jerick McKinnon's kind of their pass catching back. Also a guy they trust a lot, but Pacheco has kind of earned that trust as well. So in the research that I've done, Pacheco's the guy to play today in a game where he should get a lot of second half work because they should be up big. So I'll go Pacheco as one of them. And then, I mean, if you're in the playoffs and you drafted DeAndre Swift, it's tough to play him against the Jets. He's been kind of disappointing overall, but I'm just not a big believer in Brian Robinson, despite that matchup being solid. I think you got to start your studs in the playoffs too. So DeAndre Swift and Pacheco is probably a pretty solid way to go.
All right, Nick, I do appreciate you picking up the slack where the other guys left me hanging today. Tell everybody one more time where to find you and everything.
Yeah, so gridironai.com. You can follow me on Twitter. I don't post a ton, but when I do, it's usually dynasty-related content. So @run_the_Sims on Twitter. Gridironai.com. If you go to the site, they're definitely running a special right now. So I think you get the rest of the season and the playoffs MVP, like all our projections and whatnot, for free. So check us out there, test it out. And then if you're into it, maybe subscribe next year. Hello. And check us out on Instagram as well, gridiron.ai on Instagram. And thanks for having me, DJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming, Nick.
All right. See ya.
All right, that's going to do it for our show today. Very short one. If you have any start-sit questions, feel free to send them to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, wherever, by Harper. We'll be sure to answer them. I know a couple guys were out sick today, but we will not be back next week for the New Year or Christmas Eve slate. We're taking that off. So we'll see you here in 2 weeks on New Year's Day, getting you ready for whatever may happen in Week 17. Thank you for everybody who listened. Thank you again for Nick Gurall, who came on to talk a little DFS. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.